Hi everybody, Matt back again. Thinking about a new project, new year, new project. Now, I know I've got loads of things going on at the moment still. I've just got to finish off my War of the Roses army. I've started painting those hobbits as well, which I'm really enjoying. But when we actually get up and playing again and our games club gets going, a couple of us are now interested in playing the Barons War. Now, if you've not heard of the Barons War, it's basically a new skirmish game by Andy Hobday, and at the moment it's only PDF version only, okay, which is why you can see this on the screen on my computer, but it's pretty much a skirmish game. He says it's between the periods of maybe the 1400s and the end of the Wars of the Roses, so that's quite a long period of play, but I think intentionally it's probably intended to be played around the 12th and 13th century, around the time of King John and the Barons Wars, okay, as in the title. It's essentially a skirmish game for between around, they say in the rules, probably between 10 to 40 figures. So 40 figures is 1,000 points, I think, and it's quite a large game. So quite a few, a minimal amount of figures, and it's 1-to-1 scale, so each figure is an individual man. As you can see from the figures on the screen, very nice looking. I think these are the ones from Footsore Miniatures that are selling the game and the miniatures at the moment, but they tend to do metal. I'm not a big fan of metal miniatures anymore. I've been there, done that, although I will try some of them. They look really nice, and they look really nice painted. Now, what we've done, basically, a friend of mine has decided to play Knights Templar, and he's bought some Knights Templar from Fireforge. Okay, now I've never ever bought Fireforge before, mostly because if I'm going to play medieval, I want to play something that looks a bit realistic, and Perry's always seemed the most realistic to me, whereas I don't know why Fireforge always felt like they're a bit kind of D&D-ish in their appearance, kind of heroic with giant swords and, you know, big armour and pauldrons and all that kind of thing. But I think I'm wrong about that, because I've gone away and I've bought some. He's got Templars. I think no, not Templars. Sorry, he's playing Teutonic Knights. So I'm going to play Byzantines. Okay, so Byzantine Spearmen. I've got some of those, and I've got some Byzantine auxiliaries. So I'm starting with my infantry. Now, there's only 25 in each box, so that's not too bad. I don't want to buy too many models to play this game. Okay, I want to keep it quite small, so that's 50, and then if I add a bit of some horsemen, then you know, that'll bump it up to a few more. But essentially, that'll allow me to have a decent force. Now, with these guys, you can you don't have to stick to just the spearmen. I think you can give them swords and different types of weapons as well, and shields. So let's open these up and have a look, see what they're like. This is the first time I've ever seen these. Okay, I have taken this, the bases out already, but let's take a look at these and see if I'm wrong about Fireforge. Okay, so Byzantine Spearmen, what do they look like? Let's take a look. Okay, so pretty nice actually. Yeah, very nice. They've got they're quite chunky, aren't they, compared to things like Perry's and that. Okay, they're more in the tradition of. They look more to me like the kind of Vitrix Vikings, the kind of detail you get on them. They're pretty nicely detailed though. There's a lot of detail there. Okay, they do look slightly bigger. They're supposed to be 28mm. Okay, but they do look slightly bigger than the usual Perry's models or the other historical models, but that's not a problem, you know, because the whole point of this game is that you're only playing with 40 figures. You want them to look imposing on the battlefield, don't you? You don't want them to look tiny and out of place. So I think all the sprues are the same. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, all the sprues are the same. So you've got a combination. You can either have spears or swords. You can have round shields or kite shields. Okay, so that gives you a fair bit of variety and combination. So these are basically going to be the kind of foot soldiers, aren't they? These are going to be the foot sergeants, the veteran sergeants, the spearmen of the unit. Okay, so not a massive amount of variety with those, just swords. Well, one guy's got a sword actually, so I think it looks to me like pretty much everybody has to have a spear apart from maybe the captain. Yeah, okay. So all spearmen, okay, but very nice. All in. It's not chainmail, is it? I think it's kind of scale mail. Okay, the kind of things that the Byzantines wore. So we're kind of talking late Roman Empire, aren't we? Really, you know, Eastern Roman Empire with the Byzantines. So around 12th century, something like that. Okay, so that's the spearmen. Okay, nice little force to put together there. And the next one is the auxiliary. Now these, I'm hoping, have a bit more variety. Okay, so Byzantine auxiliaries. So again, 25 of these guys. They all come with square bases, but for Baron's War they do suggest round bases, 25mm round bases. Okay, so I might not use the square ones. I use square for pretty much everything that I do, almost 100%, but I think I'm going to try and use these exclusively for Baron's War, so I'm going to put them on the round bases just so there's a bit of a difference. Okay, so what have we got here? So we've got guys in not in armour this time, okay, because we're talking about archers and crossbowmen, I think. Oh, slingers. There's a couple of slingers in there, a couple of spears. Okay, so we've got archers and slingers and spearmen. So there is variety in here. There's a couple of guys in armour, in scale mail there, and it does look like all of the sprues are the same again. So really what I've got to try and do is I've got to try and think about what kind of combinations I want, how many archers I want, how many spearmen I want, how many slingers I want, etc, etc. So I really need to kind of have a think about that, and a few swordsmen as well. Okay, so because I'm choosing Byzantines, I think I'm obviously not going to be going into the area of double-handed weapons and pole axes and pole arms and all that kind of thing. But you know, because we're talking pretty early medieval here, really, even the end of the Dark Ages in lots of ways. So it's generally spears and bows and slings, really, for the Byzantines. But that's good, because I've never played this period before. I've never gone this far back. You know, the closest I've got was a free sprue of Romans from War Games Illustrated. So I've never gone as far back as Byzantium and late Romans. Okay, and these look really nice. Yeah. Okay, it's quite interesting that these don't have bases, and yet the spearmen did. Okay, so these are going to have to be a little bit like the Space Marines, aren't they, from GW, and they're going to stick straight onto the bases via their feet. So what I'll do is I'll paint up one of each. I'll paint up a spearman and a bowman and a slinger and maybe a swordsman as well, and then over the weekend I'll post up exactly what they look like when they're painted. Okay, right, I hope that's been interesting for you, especially if you've never played Baron's War, or you have never seen Fireforge models before. This might give you a bit of a insight into what they're like. Okay, nice variety of heads. Heads to me look very similar to the kind of thing you get with Victrix, which I'm quite used to. So I've got a lot of Victrix Vikings. Doesn't seem to be any massive issues with any of them, really. Yeah, they are a bit more chunky than I'm used to, but they're simple. They look simple to put together. They could be quite quick to assemble, and they could be quite nice to paint as well. A little bit like the Hobbits are really easy to paint, because you know the detail is really closely defined on them. Okay, right. Speak to you later. Paint these up, and then I will show you what they look like. Bye.